The Value of Time, page 61 to page 70. Ibn Asakir's dedication to knowledge, his numerous shuyukh and shaykhat, and his excellence and conscientiousness. Imam Tajuddin as-Subki wrote in Tabaqat al-Shafi'ah al-Kubra in his biography, "He is the eminent Imam, the Hafid of the Ummah, Abul Qasim ibn Asakir, and we do not know of any of his forefathers by the name of Asakir, but he was rather known by that name. He is the servant and advocate of the Sunnah, the Imam of the scholars of Hadith of his time, and the seal of the great Hufad, the destination of the journey of seekers of knowledge. He devoted himself to various sciences, occupying himself only with knowledge and action, and were his sole desires. He possessed a memory that missed no point, a rigorous authenticator with ingenious ways and criteria and meticulous perfection, equating him to his predecessors, if not excelling them, and a width of knowledge which rendered all else lacking in his presence. He learnt from many people, and the number of his scholars reached 1,300 shuyukh and over 80 shaykhat. He travelled to Iraq, then Mecca, then Medina, then he travelled to the lands of the non-Arabs. He studied in Isfahan, Nisapur, Mar, Tabriz, Mihana, Yabhaq, Khuzrajird, Bistam, Damigan, Aray, Zanjan, Hamadan, Asadabad, Jay, Herat, Bawan, Bagh, Bushang, Sarkhas, Nuqan, Simnan, Abharm, Marand, Khoway, Jarbazaqan, Mushkan, Ruzrawa, Hulwan, Arjish. He also studied in Anbar, Rafiqa, Rahba, Maridin, Makisin, and other cities in many lands, travelling far and wide, not tiring from the length of the journey, alone, except for his taqwa, which he took for a companion, and determination, which aspired to the highest of goals as a precious prize. His Shaykh al-Khatib al-Fadl al-Tusi said, "We do not know of anyone deserving this title of al-Hafid in this time except him." Ibn al-Najjar said, "He was the Imam of the Muhaddithin of his time, and the possessor of the highest precision in memorization and perfection, wide knowledge of the sciences of Hadith, trustworthiness and nobleness, high quality of writing and teaching, and the seal of this field." I heard our Shaykh Abdul Wahhab ibn al-Amin saying, "One day I was with Al-Hafid Abul Qasim ibn Asakir and Abu Sa'd ibn as-Samani seeking hadith and meeting scholars. We met one Shaykh, and Ibn as-Samani stopped him to verify a hadith from him. But when he came to the part which he wished to read and verify, he could not find him, and was distressed. Ibn Asakir said to him, 'What is the part you want to read?' He replied, 'The book of al-Ba'th wa al-Nushur of Ibn Dawood, learnt from Abu Nasr al-Zaynabi.' He said to him, 'Do not worry,' and he read it, or part of it, from memory." Shaykh Muhyiddin an-Nawawi said about him, and I quote from his handwriting, "He is the Hafid of Ash-Sham, or rather of the whole world, the absolute Imam, the trustworthy, precise authenticator of Hadith." Ibn Asakir's great concern for his learning. His son, Al-Hafid Abul Muhammad al-Qasim related, "My father had learnt from many shuyukh, many books of which he obtained no copies, relying on the copies of his friends Al-Hafid Abu Ali al-Wazar, for what Ibn al-Wazir wrote down, my father did not, and vice versa. I heard him one night talking to a friend of his under the moonlight in the mosque. He said, 'I travelled, but it as if I had not travelled, and I learnt, but it is as if I had not learnt. I thought that my companion Ibn al-Wazir will return the books I had learnt, such as Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, the books of al-Bayhaqi and others. But he resided in Mar and remained there. I hoped that another friend of mine will arrive, one known by the name of Yusuf ibn Farawa al-Jayani, or another one, Abul Hasan al-Muradi, for he said to me, "Perhaps I will come to Damascus and from there go home to Al-Andalus." However, none of them came to Damascus, and I thought it was necessary for me to travel once again to study these great books. A few days later, a man came to his house and said, "Abul Hasan al-Muradi has come." My father went to him, welcomed him, and received him in his house, and he brought with him 4 boxes full of books he had copied. My father was extremely happy and thanked Allah for facilitating the arrival of what he had learnt from him without further hardship, and saved him from travelling again. He copied those books until he obtained that which he sought, and he was such that whenever he obtained a part of it, it was as if he had possessed the ownership of this world. May Allah have mercy on him and be pleased with him. These were glimpses from the life of the eminent Imam, al-Hafid ibn Asakir al-Dimishqi, in which I perceived amazing marvels and entertaining wonders. Had it not been for his conservation of time and good use of minutes and seconds, he would not have been able to write those great, huge, beneficial works, which academic institutions are incapable of printing today, let alone write their likes. Thus, dear readers, let us all use every moment of our time, for it is the treasure of blessing and goodness. Careful distribution of activities according to the time suitable for them. What one must highlight here when considering time is that academic work must be given the right time that is suitable for it. For some academic activities are appropriate for any time or state of mind due to their ease, such as copying, light reading and the like, which do not necessitate a free mind, complete concentration, and deep, precise reflection. On the other hand, there are academic activities which can only be fully achieved during times when the mind is free, when intuition and understanding are apt, when blessings abound, such as the hours of late night, dawn, morning, and the hours of peace and quiet of night and the complete emptiness and silence of space and time. These peaceful and blessed times must be taken advantage of in order to solve problematic issues and difficult questions, to disentangle complicated problems, to correct and edit writings, to seek to clarify ambiguous obscure expressions, to memorize texts and the like. The best times and places for memorization. Al-Hafid al-Khatib al-Baghdadi wrote in his book al-Faqih wal-Mutafaqih regarding the best times for memorization and the most suitable places which facilitate the task. Know that memorization has its times which must be kept in mind by those who seek to memorize, and that it has places where one seeking to memorize must remain. The best of times are the late hours of the night, followed by the middle of the day, then the mornings rather than the afternoons. Memorization by night is better than memorization by day, and the times of hunger are better for memorization than hours of satiety. The one seeking to memorize should assess his state of hunger, for some people are not able to memorize in a state of extreme hunger and thirst. Hence, they should quench it by something light, and should not eat much. As for the best places, then they are the upper rooms rather than the lower halls, and any place that is far from distractions, where the heart is empty from anything that may distract it and occupy it, or overcome it and prevent it from memorizing. It is not recommended to memorize near plants or greenery, nor near rivers, or on the side of the road, for such places are seldom free from things that prevent concentration and peace. His advice regarding places is different from that of Abu Nasr al-Farabi. Al-Qadi ibn Khalikan wrote in his biography, Wafayat al-Ayan, he was a solitary man, not mixing with people. During his stay in Damascus, he was mostly near rivers or gardens, where he wrote his books and received his students. Avoiding noise when memorizing or studying. Students of knowledge are recommended to seek solitude and stay away from people and noise, because solitude facilitates clarity of thinking, and when the mind is clear and understanding is correct. They are seeing knowledge through the balance of the intellect, and this balance is extremely fine, and is affected by the least of desires or distractions, making it deviate from its proper state. Thus, in seeking specific and difficult matters of knowledge, one must give careful consideration to the time and place, so that comprehension may be achieved and conception and judgment may be correct. The Imam of Hadith and Fiqh Abu Sulaiman Hamd ibn Muhammad al-Khattabi al-Busti, born in 319 AH and died in 388 AH, may Allah have mercy on him, said, "When I am alone, my mind is clear, and I find thoughts as bright as lightning in the darkness. While when my ear is distracted by the clamour of the shouters, I become unable to articulate my thoughts." Some knowledge is of little consequence, has minimal benefit, is superfluous, and the need for it is even less. Time should not be spent on seeking such knowledge, nor should minds be preoccupied with it, for preoccupation with the less preferred things prevents obtaining what is preferred and the better, and causes one to consume time and energy, and prevents one from achieving one's goals and wishes. Salih ibn Abdul Qudus wrote, "If you seek knowledge, then know that it is a burden. Hence, take care of what you carry, and if you find something better than it, then preoccupy your heart with that which is better." The wise man must devote his keen mind and precious time to better actions and the higher aspirations, in order to attain what is most excellent and useful. Fighting feelings of boredom and lack of motivation. Abu Hilal al-Askari wrote in his book Al-Haf ala Talab al-Ilm that Ibn Jar al-Mawsili said, "One should delay one's lesson of literature and poetry to his time of boredom." Ibn al-Maraqi said, "One must trick oneself in learning." He means that when one is bored or unmotivated, one should not give in to that or interrupt one's lessons or learning, but should rather deal with his lack of motivation and strive against one's boredom until he overcomes it and achieves vitality and the revival of spirit. Ways to overcome boredom, sleepiness, and laziness. This may be achieved sometimes through such actions as chewing gum, leaving an enclosed room for an open space, moving from one room to another, taking a quick cold or hot shower, drinking a light drink, eating something light, talking to a friend, reciting some poetry, reciting Quran in a loud voice, changing one's posture, walking or going up, changing the subject or book being studied, or similar actions. There is a suitable way for everybody, and motivation has a key, which is not hidden from the intelligent, determined ones. Need to devote oneself to the important matters before the less important ones. Al-Hafid al-Baghdadi, may Allah have mercy on him, said, "Knowledge is like seas which can never be contained and minerals which can never be exhausted. So occupy yourself with the most important of it, for whoever occupies himself with the unimportant loses the important." That is what was referred to by Al-Abbas ibn al-Hasan al-Alawi, who was one of the most prominent scholars and the ingenious poets, one of the companions of the Caliph Harun al-Rashid, and then Caliph al-Ma'mun, in his precious advice, which I wish to include here fully for the deep insight and eloquent expression contained in it. Al-Abbas al-Alawi on giving priority to what is important. Al-Abbas, may Allah have mercy on him, said, "Know that your mind cannot contain everything, hence dedicate it to the important matters. Know that your money is not sufficient to enrich all people, hence devote it to the rightful people. Know that your generosity cannot be enough for all the people, hence seek to reserve it for the people of grace. Know that your night and day cannot satisfy all your needs, even if you strive hard. Hence, divide them carefully between times of work and times of rest. For occupying your mind with that which is unimportant is undermining what is important, and the money you spend in useless expenses you will lack when you need it for necessary ones. And the generosity you bestow on those undeserving of it will undermine you when you are unable to bestow it on people of grace. Spend your night and day on unnecessary matters, and you will regret it in times of need. These are glimpses highlighting the value of time in the lives of those noble scholars and imams, only some of whom I have mentioned, and they were all the pride of Islam, nay, the pride of humanity. Those are people who honour Allah raised, and no other honour excels it, however great it may be. Henceforth, dear reader, you shall not be astonished when you hear or read that certain scholars wrote over 100 books that contributed to enriching every science, for the reason behind their success is that they made use of all of their time and avoided excessive curiosity or were not heedless of the passing of time. They used every moment, minute and hour, and thus produced such lasting legacies. Scholars who wrote 50 or 100 books. Ustad Jamil al-Adham al-Damashqi, who died in 1352 AH, may Allah have mercy on him, wrote in a book called Uqud al-Jahwar fi tarajim man lahum khamsuna tasnifan famiyatun fa aktar. The Pearl Chains, on the biographies of those who wrote 50 to 100 books and more, in which he mentioned many scholars who were known for the abundance of their writings. He mentioned Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, Ibn al-Jawzi, al-Nawawi, Ibn Sina, al-Ghazali, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, Ibn al-Qayyim, Ali al-Qari al-Munawi, Abul Ghani al-Nabulsi, Abul Hayy al-Laknawi, and others whose works exceeded 50 books. If you read the biographies of these noble scholars and those like them, you will feel motivated by their lives to appreciate the value of time, to join their ranks if you have the ambition and determination, such that you do not leave this world except that you have left behind 30, 40, or 50 books. And Allah increases in creation what He wills, and He bestows His mercy on whom He chooses, and Allah is all-sufficient, all-knower. Useful ways to facilitate gaining time and benefiting from it. In order to conserve time and gain it, follow the advice of the early scholars concerning the characteristics of the seekers of knowledge, which qualify him to acquire knowledge and of whom excellence is expected. He must be fast at writing, fast in reading, and fast in walking. Being a fast walker enables the student to be able to visit all the shuyukh in a short time, while being a fast writer and reader reduces the time spent on that which can be used for other tasks, and to increase in knowledge. These characteristics undoubtedly facilitate increasing knowledge and learning from scholars in the shortest time and life. I added to the above a fourth quality, that one must be fast at eating, for if he were not, and was instead slow and engrossed in eating, the time he saved through his fast reading, writing and walking would be wasted through the length of time spent in eating. Thus, he would not know how to manage his time well, nor how to benefit from the above advice. Eating, sleeping and resting for the seeker of knowledge must be according to necessity. Imam an-Nawawi, may Allah have mercy on him, wrote in the magnificent introduction to his great book Al-Majmu', the student must be concerned for knowledge, preserving regularly in studying at all times, by night and day, in residence or travel, and must not spend his time in anything other than knowledge, except according to necessity, such as eating, sleeping, taking short breaks in order to dispel boredom, and other similar necessities. Abul Wafa ibn Uqayl, I strive to shorten my meal times. Imam Abul Wafa ibn Uqayl al-Hanbali, may Allah have mercy on him, wrote, I strive my utmost to shorten my meal times as much as possible, to the extent that I choose to eat bread with water rather than bread alone, because of the difference in time of chewing, in order to save time for reading or writing some beneficial matter. Indeed, the best profit in the eyes of the wise ones by the consensus of the scholars is time, for it is a profit in which opportunities are sought, for tasks are many and times are fleeting. As-Suyuti's explanation of how the seeker of knowledge can gain time. Al-Hafid al-Imam As-Suyuti, may Allah have mercy on him, highlighted the need of the seeker of knowledge to be fast at eating, as well as walking and writing, in order to conserve time, in 2 verses of poetry in which he said, Our Shaykh al-Kinani told us about his father and the famous preacher, who said, Hurry, O seeker of knowledge, in 3 things, eating, walking and writing. The Shaykh al-Kinani mentioned here is the Imam and Supreme Judge Izzuddin Ahmad ibn Ibrahim al-Kinani al-Misri al-Hanbali, may Allah have mercy on him. Lost time never returns. O dear reader, O wise, intelligent, perceptive brother, you must preserve your time from waste, for the time you live is a transient state which cannot be repeated nor returned. It is said, What has passed has gone, and what is anticipated is unknown, and you have but the hour in which you are living. Thus, seek to gain time and benefits from it by organizing yourself and managing your times and tasks. As a student or a teacher, writer or reader, listener or reciter, or as a worshipper, and do not wrong yourself by killing time, wasting hours of your life and moments of your existence, wronging yourself and being wronged, seeking rest and laziness, and leaving noble deeds and elevated positions. Laziness is the worst companion, and love of rest brings regret. Imam Abul Faraj ibn al-Jawzi, may Allah have mercy on him, wrote in his gentle letter in which he advised his son, which he called Laftat al-Kadib fi Nasiha al-Walad. Laziness in doing noble deeds is the worst companion. Love of rest and idleness leads to regret which exceeds any pleasure. So be aware and tire yourself for your benefit, and regret what has passed and what you have wasted. Strive to catch up with the ranks of the perfect ones as long as there is a chance. Water your tree so long as it has life, and remember the hours you have wasted, for they would be sufficient as a reminder, as they were spent on the pleasures of laziness, whilst opportunities for reaching noble levels were wasted. Motivation may slacken and sometimes may be wasted, but when encouraged it is revived, and motivation stops only because of the lack of determination and ambition. For whenever ambition is high, it cannot be satisfied with little. If one is high, he would aspire to attain the highest summits, whilst those who are low are content with what is lowest.